Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. So I hope everyone is okay. This is me doing, damn, I forgot to change. Damn, forgot to change photo. That's fine. Hope everyone is doing alright. So this is, I think, my third show for today. I'm not sure if I should just do one just really long, like 3-hour show. I think I like to break them up. Also, I'm probably going to be bad with time management, means some run long other than others, which means sort of will be compressed. I think I like it like this. The OIG report. Excuse me. The OIG report. So, man, let me check my sound before I started on this, because there was a discrepancy between what I was being told about it versus the quotes that were in it. Like, if you just looked at the media's account, no bias. There's no bias. The OIG, who did a thorough investigation, said there was no bias. And then you look at the quotes, and you're like, wait a minute. These quotes sound like a lot like bias to me. It puts me in the mind of, what's her name? What was Donna Brazil's piece, where Donna Brazil wrote this long, elaborate thing describing money laundering, describing it, full-throatedly describing money laundering, and that the Hillary Clinton essentially was rerouting money through the Clinton Foundation. But then at the very end writes one line, this was unethical, but it was not illegal. And on the other line, she should say, bullshit. It was massively illegal. You named something that was essentially money laundering. This is kind of how this report feels. Here's the thing at the top. In fact, let me read it. And I'm going to read some quotes. I'm taking this from Zero Hedge. Zero Hedge is fucking awesome. Closer look at the extreme bias revealed in the OIG report. So the OIG, the Inspector General said, we did not find documentary or testimonial evidence that improper considerations, including political bias, directly affected the specific investigative actions we reviewed. All right, let me read that again. We did not find documentary or testimonial evidence that improper considerations, including political bias, was directly affected specific investigative actions we reviewed. People took that and says, okay, no bias. No bias. He says no bias. Let's look at some of the quotes. The quotes are interesting. These texts are indicative of a biased state of mind, but even more seriously implies a willingness to take official action to impact the presidential candidate's electoral prospects. This is antithetical to the core values of the FBI and the Department of Justice. Wait a minute. Didn't that same guy just tell me there was no bias? Do you remember, and I'm asking, do you remember, because I know nobody remembers, but I like to ask that question. Corporations are people too, my friends. Well, why did Mitt Romney say corporations were people too? And why did he say my friends at the end, making it all that more creepy, that he thinks is perfectly okay, that a corporation is equivalent to a human goddamn being? This came from a court case that never existed, believe it or not. The court case that they took this from doesn't say anything about corporations are like people. Nothing. The person who wrote the thing on top, the summary, added that in. And every case from that point on used corporations are people too. And nobody cared enough to actually look into the case to figure out what was in the case. Nor has anybody challenged it, because there's a bunch of shit built on top of essentially a summary that didn't exist. That's true, by the way. Unless Tom Hartman has lied to me, that is true. And I suspect Hartman is right. Hartman did research on this, looking for the exact passage in the actual law. And he could not find the exact passage in the actual case. Like, not law, but in the case. Because it didn't exist. It didn't exist. That's kind of how this feels. Like where he's writing, there was no bias in this investigation in documentary form. Essentially, nobody wrote out, I am going to cheat in order to put Hillary Clinton in the White House, and I'm going to get Trump on for Russia. Signed. Nobody did that. So is that what he means? Nobody was stupid enough to just write out their specific intentions? Because that's a mighty high bar, buddy. If that's true, we did not find documentary. But what is this? These texts are indicative of a biased state of mind, but even more seriously, implies a willingness to take official action to impact the presidential candidate's electoral prospects. This is antithetical to the core values of the FBI. Horowitz concludes, ever so conveniently, that while there was bias, irregularities in Comey's FBI, there was no evidence Hillary investigators acted on their bias. In other words, no intent. Sounds familiar? Just like Comey arguing and exonerating Hillary. No evidence of intent. Of course, today's crown jewel is previously undisclosed exchange between Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, in which Page asks, Trump's not ever going to become president, right? Right? To which Strzok replied, No, he's not. We'll stop it. Well, that's interesting. How are you going to stop it, buddy? Several FBI employees who played critical roles in the investigation sent political messages, Inspector General report says. It cites Lisa Page to Peter Strzok. Trump's not ever going to become president, right? Strzok, no, he's not. We'll stop it. Never mind the fact that the FBI director who used personal emails for work purposes tasked Strzok, who used personal emails for work purposes to investigate Hillary Clinton's use of personal emails for work purposes. Of course, we know it goes far deeper than that. Understand what's being said. Comey, as he investigated Hillary Clinton for having a personal email server, himself had a personal email server. That's awesome. Let's keep going. As you read through the IG report, just remember, everyone, there were zero scandals in the Obama administration. The Wall Street Journal's Kimberly Strassel also had plenty to say in a Twitter thread. Don't believe anyone who claims Horowitz identified bias. He very carefully says that he found no documentary evidence that bias produced specific investigatory decisions. That's different. It means that he didn't catch anyone doing anything so dumb as writing down what they took as specific step to aid a candidate. You know, like, let's give out this come better immunity deal so nothing comes out of the derail Hillary for president. But he in fact finds bias everywhere. The examples are shocking and concerning that he devotes an entire section to them. And he very specifically says in the summary that they cast a cloud on the entire investigation's credibility. That's pretty damning. Meanwhile, the same cast of characters who the Inspector General has now found to have made a hash of the Hillary Clinton investigation are now demonstrated such bias, seamlessly moved to the Trump investigation, and we're supposed to think they got that one right. I love it when I say stuff and then people say it after me, because it makes me feel like my political acumen is on point. I made this exact point like a year ago. I said, this stinks, and not only does it stink, the idea that the people who got her off gets Trump on. If Comey comes out and exonerates Hillary Clinton, exonerates her before he even does an investigation, Comey is dirty. Why am I going to believe anything from that standpoint when the same agents that got Hillary Clinton unhooked of those charges, you can say, and had a clear bias in favor of Clinton, so much so that they got her off a goddamn federal case? Why am I going to trust that they're going to be fair to Donald Trump when they use their bias in an opposite way to get Hillary Clinton off? I said it stinks. I'm glad somebody else is picking that up. Also, don't believe anyone who says this is just about Comey and instances of insubordination. Though they are bad enough, this is an indictment broadly of an FBI culture that believes itself above the rules it imposes on others. People failing to adhere to their recusals, Kadizik and McCabe, Lynch hanging with Bill, staff helping Comey conceal details of presser from the Department of Justice bosses, use of personal emails and laptops, leaks, accepting gifts from the media, agent affairs, relationships. It also contains stunning examples of incompetence. Comey explains that he wasn't aware of the Weiner laptop being a big deal because he didn't know that Weiner was married to Abaddon. Then, to sit on it for a month, either because it fell through the cracks, wow, or were more obsessed with Trump. And I can still hear the echo of the howls from when Trump fired Comey, still waiting to hear the apologies now that the report backstopped the Rosenstein memo and the obvious grounds for dismissal. Meaning, all of those people who screamed at the top of their lungs when Trump fired Comey saying, "Oh my God, the President of the United States has just fired the head of the FBI. What does the president have to hide? The president is a Russian agent. The president doesn't want people to know that he's a Russian agent. We need to have a special prosecutor. We need to have a special prosecutor. We need to look into this. Oh my God, you just fired Comey." And they flip out about it. Comey was incompetent. And I would argue massively corrupt. What is taking place here in this Inspector General's report is biased all throughout what was taking place for the report for the Clinton investigation. So much so that he says it casts a doubt on the entire investigation. If you stop at the first part that says there was no documentary bias, you can come away thinking, oh, good, everything's great. It's a 500-page report. And you look into the covers of it and you're like, oh God, this is over the top bias. This is utterly perverse. There needs to be a second special prosecutor to investigate Hillary Clinton. If the Inspector General looked at what took place from the standpoint of the investigation the first time around, and he comes away saying this casts a cloud of suspicion on the entirety and the validity of this investigation, how can you not have a second one? It's not a second bite at the apple because it was never a first bite. Let's keep going. Let's review more of the exchanges which had no bearing on the unbiased report. The OIG discovered texts and instant messages between employees on the investigative team on the FBI expressing hostility towards the candidate Donald Trump and statements of support for then Hillary Clinton. During the course of the review, the OIG discovered text messages and instant messages between some FBI employees on the investigative team conducted using FBI mobile devices and computers that expressed statements of hostility towards the candidate Donald Trump and statements of support for the candidate Clinton. We also identified messages that expressed opinions that were critical of the conduct and quality of the investigation. We concluded in our review an assessment of these messages and actions by the FBI employees. Viva la resistance! In one shocking exchange between two unnamed FBI agents, which we summarized to be Strzok and Page, attorney number one asks attorney number two, is it making you rethink your commitment to the Trump administration? To which attorney number two replied, hell no, adding, Viva la resistance. Let's see. A third exchange was identified on November 22nd, 2016. FBI 1 sent instant message to FBI commenting on the amount of money the subject of an FBI investigation had been paid while working on the Trump campaign. FBI Attorney 1 responded, is it making you rethink your commitment to the Trump? Okay, that's the other one, Viva la resistance. Let's see. Some of Strzok's and Page's greatest hits. Bernie Sanders is an idiot like Trump. Figure they cancel each other out. Page, I'm no prude, but I'm really appalled by this. So you don't think have to go looking. What? I'm no prude, but I'm really appalled by this. So you don't have to go looking. In case you hadn't heard, Trump called him the pussy. Essentially called him a pussy. The man had no dignity or class. Mind you, these people are having an affair. He's having an affair. Talking about the other people in their class. That's great. Strux. Oh, Trump's abysmal. I keep hoping the charade will end and people will just dump him. The problem, then, is Rubio will likely lose the cruise. Republican Party is an utter shambles. When was the last competitive ticket they offered? That part is actually true. God, Trump is loathsome human. Oh my God, Trump's an idiot. He's awful. God, Hillary should win 100 million to 0. She couldn't even get over 300. Come on. Also, you hear Trump make a comment about the size of his dick earlier. This man cannot be president. Page forwarded an article about a far-right candidate in Texas stating, "What the fuck is wrong with people?" Strzok replied that Texas article is depressing as hell, but answer how we can end up with President Trump. Page, I cannot believe Donald Trump is likely to be an actual serious candidate for president. Strzok, they fully deserve to go and demonstrate the absolute bigoted nonsense of Trump. Page, Donald Trump is an enormous douche. Page, Trump barely spoke, but the first thing out of his mouth was, "We're going to win so big. The whole thing is like living in a bad dream." Trump is a disaster. I have no idea how destabilizing his presidency would be. Referring to an article entitled, "A Victory by Mr. Trump Remains Possible," Structure says, "Oh my God, this is fucking terrifying." Page, I bought all the president's men. Figure I needed to brush up on Watergate. Why would you need to do that? Let's see. Right here. Bombshell in the IG report. As FBI agent Strzok says, he has unfinished business. He needs to fix it, referring to Trump. The reference working on an investigation leading to the impeachment of Russia, while also admitting there's no big there in regards to Trump and Russia. Understand what's being said? Wait a minute, and let me find the exact quote. Right here. While there are many damning revelations in the OIG report, one would think that given the above, there was much more evidence to, at a minimum, launch a special counsel, especially when you consider the weak sauce that was used to justify the Mueller probe. Now, let's see. Where's the whole one? Where is it? Strzok says he has unfinished business. He needs to fix it, referring to Trump, and references working on an investigation leading to the impeachment, while also admitting there's no big there in regards to Trump and Russia. Essentially, in one of the back and forths, he admits that there's nothing there for the Trump and Russia, while at the same token working on something, some kind of unfinished business in this regard. And now Hillary saying, but my emails. Also, the OIG report revealed that Obama did know that Hillary Clinton was using a private server, in spite of saying he didn't find out until the New York Times article. We knew that just based on WikiLeaks by itself told us that part. So, this is interesting. Don't let anybody tell you there was no bias in that report. There was bias all over that report. And like I said, one of the bombshells in this, there were a few, but let's see, where is it? Come on. Let's see. FBI investigation, actress Comey exonerated. Well, this one, Trump's never ever going to become president, right? To which Strzok replied, no, he's not. We'll stop it. Or better yet, I'm sorry. Trump's never going to be president, right? Right? No, we'll stop it. And then the question becomes, how are you going to stop it? Now, let's see, where is it? But he finds bias everywhere. The examples are shocking and concerning, and he devotes entire sections, and he very specifically says in a summary that it casts a cloud on the entire investigation's credibility. That's pretty damning. That is pretty damning. So I will put this at the bottom for you to see for yourself. That report is 500 pages long, so I would imagine people are going to be going through that thing like nobody's business and plucking out all sorts of good tidbits. Yeah. So look, I'm not going to keep this one long because I have 2 more that I want to get done before today's over with. All the president's men. Yeah. That seems shady as all hell. It's funny, when I first was looking at the paper, I was like, oh man, they didn't find anything. I know HA is going to shoot himself on camera. And then when you, like you said, you dig into it and you're like, well, that's a bias. That's bias. I mean, he's literally saying they're not going to allow him to become president. How are you not calling this bias? It's amazing. Yeah. So, all right, I'm going to end this here. Bias everywhere in that report. That's what it boils down to. All right, guys. If you enjoyed the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe, and of course, you can always support the Patreon. Thanks, guys. And we are